And the polls officially open for the final day of voting in the Indigenous Voice to Parliament referendum. Joining me live now is Professor George Williams, an expert in Australian Constitution law. Professor, thank you very much for joining us. Yes, we certainly are going to know soon. A historic day, our first referendum in 24 years. Tell us first of all, how long do you estimate we will find out?
Well, it's really going to depend upon how close the vote is. If it's really close, it could take a couple of weeks. There's a lot of pre-poll and other votes to count, but that does not seem likely. The polls are suggesting that the no vote is likely to win, and if the polls are anywhere near accurate, we may well find out within an hour or so of counting. In fact, well before the votes in Western Australia start to be tallied.
Why do you think the no vote will win?
Well, what the polls are suggesting is that the number one cut-through argument in the referendum is that the voice would actually divide us. And the polls are suggesting that that's been very effective in generating votes for the no case. I think also the misinformation has played a key role. Many people don't understand what the voice is about, and they've been left concerned and worried about the implications and how the voice might actually operate. Another issue, again, is the detail. It's difficult to give more detail when it's just a framework and Parliament's meant to fill in the details, but no doubt many people are concerned they don't know more. And again, that feeds into misinformation, concerns and the like, and it's given the no case a formidable set of arguments to prosecute their case.
A lot of people saying that the Yes campaign, perhaps there's a bit of mixed messages as well. We hear that it's a modest change. Would you agree it's a modest change?
Well, legally it's modest, yes. In fact, it's not even as significant as the 1967 referendum, where 90% of Australians voted yes, because all the law actually does is insert an advisory body into the Constitution. Where it may be made more than modest is in its political impact. The idea is that this advisory body will be influential, will help drive policy and legal outcomes. But I think a lot of these issues get conflated, and it's clear not many people have actually read the words. It's only 92 words that will go into the Constitution, and certainly I'd encourage people voting today, whatever your views, do have a read of those 92 words, because that, after all, is what people are making their decision about.
92 words, Professor, but would you consider this a brand new chapter? And a brand new chapter, would that be modest?
Well, it is a new chapter, that's right. But by itself, that doesn't mean much. You could have a chapter that achieves quite radical things or a chapter that achieves quite modest things. And what this would do is it would insert this new clause into the Constitution. And essentially, there's three legal outcomes if people vote yes. The first is there will be the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. Secondly, the voice will be able to make representations to Parliament and government about Indigenous matters. And thirdly, Parliament will be given the job of determining how the voice operates, how its membership is chosen, what its procedures are. So it's essentially putting an advisory body into the Constitution. And from a constitutional law perspective, that is a modest change legally. But of course, proponents of the voice are hoping it will be far from modest politically, in that it will drive outcomes and be very influential in how laws and policies are made.
When was the last time we had a brand new chapter like this?
Well, the last time we've made any change to the Constitution was in 1977, so it's 46 years, but this would be the first time we've included a new chapter in the Constitution. But the fact that the chapter is neither here nor there, that's a drafting issue. You could have had new chapters in the past if you wanted. What's really significant is, what do the words do? What do they say? And as I've indicated, we haven't had any change to the words of the Constitution now for near half a century.
I think just from what I'm hearing from people that are perhaps undecided or no voters, they're saying that the dialogue, the narrative from the Yes campaign is that it's modest, but again, getting confused with the language, and then hearing you say that it's the biggest chapter since 1977. So I guess, and I'm just talking on behalf of a lot of no voters, that's what part of the confusion.
Yeah, I can understand that. And I think that's why in the end, the best thing people can do to cut through is read the words. That's what we're voting yes or no to. And the words are pretty straightforward, and people can make their mind up on the basis of that. And either they might say, look, these words are modest, or they might say, I'm concerned about this influence, concerned about this introduction into the Constitution. But what I think from both yes and no cases is that people are left a bit confused about actually what will happen, what it means. It's already been suggested Australia Day might go, that interest rates might be affected. None of those things are true. And I'd encourage people to read the words and make up their own mind.
Again, a lot of people are saying that it is a good idea. They think, you know, this should be done. Again, not speaking on behalf of everybody here, but if you, Professor, had your time over, would you do anything at all different regarding this particular referendum? Anything at all?
I think there's a lot of lessons to learn, whatever the outcome today. And I think one of the main lessons is that having a referendum every quarter of a century is a really big ask for Australians to vote on a constitutional change with not a lot of lead up over past several years, not a lot of knowledge in the community. And I think one big outcome for me is we need more civics education in this country, that we actually need Australians to get the information they need, not just on the eve of a referendum, but over the many prior years, to let them cut through misinformation from both sides, to understand what's going on. I'd also say a key lesson for future referendums is we need to find common ground. And we do have these large referendums on big symbolic issues about identity. But to be frank, there's a lot in the Constitution that's not working, just bread and butter issues that mean we pay too much tax, that have our broken federal system impacted. And I'd actually like to see future referendums tackle some of those basic issues for which we might get broad political support that need to be fixed to improve how government works. May not be exciting, but that's the point, to actually make changes that are meaningful without exciting such political division.
All right, now talk me through the Constitutional Convention, because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, there was not a Constitutional Convention of sorts with this particular referendum. Is that correct?
Well, there was a convention of Indigenous peoples, and that culminated in Uluru in 2017, and that was the Uluru Statement from the Heart that came from that Constitutional
sorry to interrupt you, because we've got to wrap it up soon, but a convention of sorts, though, but not a traditional one.
There has been no convention of the whole community, that's true. And that's happened a couple of times. It did happen in 1999 prior to the Republic, but it's actually been rare. Very few referendums have had conventions, but that would have been an option on this occasion. It wasn't held. And perhaps, again, future governments might consider whether they do that.
So sorry, I am interrupting, and I apologise because we're running out of time. So why not, especially considering only 8 out of 44 referendums pass, and we're in a cost of living crisis, and you know, we could have had potentially a lot of change in this particular referendum?
Well, I mean, a convention's no guarantee of success, of course. The last time we did it in '99 for that referendum failed. So I think also this one, it was thought a convention was not needed because it's a discrete, straightforward proposal. But again, with hindsight, people might say we needed a longer lead up. Perhaps we did need a convention to involve more people, educate the community, and perhaps we've come to the ballot box too quickly on this occasion without more opportunity for bringing the broader public together.
All right, of course, and whatever the outcome, I know everybody is hoping for a respectful debate, but we really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.